Good afternoon. This is the Thursday, February 21st meeting of the Athens City Planning Commission. One member is absent, 4 are present. There is anyone who is going to address the Planning Commission in our live audience. There is none. So a quorum has been established and there is no one to administer the oath to. Second is election of the 2019 Planning Commission Chair and Vice Chair. Does anyone have any nominations that they would like to put forth?
I would like to re-nominate or nominate, whatever, however you want to talk about it, R.J. Sumney as the chair and Nancy Bain as the vice chair, who are currently our chair and our vice chair, but I'd like for the two of you, I would like to nominate as a slate, both of you to continue on.
Okay, thank you. And is there a second?
I will second that.
Okay. Any other names put forth there? Okay.
I do have a proxy. We're missing excused Service Safety Director Andy Stone, okay. But he has indicated that he also would concur in a nomination of the two of you and vote as such.
Okay. Thank you. All in favor of Robert Sumney remaining as Commission Chair and Ms. Nancy Bain as Vice Chair of the Commission, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That would be unanimous then. Thank you. Moving on to disposition of minutes from January 17. Are there any comments, any changes, additions?
I move to approve the minutes as written.
Second.
Okay, and I will abstain. So all in favor?
Aye.
That would be 3 in favor, 1 abstention, and 1 absentee. Cases before the commission today would be case 19-01, Title 43 Wireless Communication, the AT&T Tower modification at 20A Monticello Drive. Good morning. Good afternoon, Mr. Suroy. Do you want to bring us up to speed on that and our audience?
Yes, good afternoon, commissioners and audience. This is a Title 43 wireless communication for 28 Monticello Drive in Athens. In accordance with Athens City Code 4307, Special Use Permit Application, AT&T Mobility is proposing to upgrade at the 135-foot level their system on the existing 190-foot telecommunications tower. The project consists of removing and replacing 6 existing antennas, removing and replacing 9 existing remote radio heads, installing additional 9 various remote radio heads, and also installing the support fiber and cables, installing the support electrical equipment. The proper supporting documents were provided. After review of the documents, it was determined that it met with code requirements under Title 43. Facts: the applicant, AT&T, Brent Lord, is the authorizing agent at 5333 Bells Ferry Road, Suite 200, Auckworth, Georgia 30102. The property owner is Tom Willoughby at 297 South Cassidy Avenue, Bexley, Ohio. Tower owner is SBA Communication at 8051 Congress Avenue, Boca Raton, Florida 33487. The site location again is 20A Monticello Drive in Athens. The site number is SOH3969. The engineer is Jacobs Engineering Group, 120 St. James Avenue, 5th floor, Boston, Massachusetts, 02116. The project description is to modify existing wireless installation. The zoning is R3. The estimated cost of the project is $15,000.
Thank you, Mr. Suroy.
Welcome.
Are there any questions from the commission? The footprint of the tower is not changing. It's just the modification
Just
within the
removing
tower.
and replacing existing antennas on the existing tower. No footprint change at all.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Mr. Mayor?
I have a comment, not a question, but we do see an awful lot of these where there's modifications made to the tower, but there is no modification to the footprint, nor are they new towers, although we have seen those come forward in the past. And this isn't my idea, this is the chair's idea. And I think that as we move forward, possibly at our next planning commission meeting, that we take up the possibility of rethinking the process for tower modifications as opposed to them having to come before this body as a modification, that possibly this could be handled at the code office, planning office itself. But I think this is a conversation that would be well worth having, because we are seeing an awful lot of modifications to where they're just swapping out antennas with either antennas with more bandwidth to them or more technologically advanced antennas. So,
I'm in agreement with you, Mayor. I think this is purely an administrative move. It could be handled at our office and signed off by the Safety Service Director. I think that would be, Paul would be in agreement on that. Since it's just modifications, and these are basically the same thing every time. You're just improving the gain on the antennas. And then we do have the process where if they do change the footprint, then that's a whole other process which we would address, and it would have to come to the Planning Commission.
well, why don't we have, or administration, we can discuss this further and then bring that forward to this body in terms of where we land on viewing or reviewing modifications that do not change the footprint, change the height, or certainly a new antenna is a case that would obviously come before this body.
We had the similar situation where we were having to provide the communication and then do the review of the plan, and we decided to do it this way because it was just administratively burdening. So, yeah.
Would you prefer that Rick and I just look at that section of city code and
That'd be terrific.
present an alternative that meets that need?
That'd be great.
And then we can,
I agree with the mayor.
You can review and-
Unless there's like the creation of a tower or the
Right.
towers expanding or reducing in some way, I don't see why that can't be handled, unless there's already some piece of legislation that prohibits us from just handing it over. But, I think it would be a good idea and more efficient just for you guys to be able to handle that.
okay.
I agree.
We can try to have something for the first meeting next month.
Okay. Ms. Bain, did you have anything more on it?
Well, once I talked to Paula about it a long time ago, and I thought there was something in the tower ordinance that the consultant provided to us that required it. I got that impression, I may be wrong.
The code as it's written requires modifications to come before the planning commission.
Okay,
for
that's
approval.
where it would happen.
Right,
Okay.
but I think it's only a couple lines in that part of code we've
I'm in
asked
favor of it.
council to change.
Okay.
Thank you. So getting back to case 1901, would anybody care to put forth a motion?
I move we approve.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so that's unanimous with one absentee. Communications, and Mr. Mayor, did you want to?
I do. I have one communication. Hopefully we can do this in the April 4th meeting, but we do need to have a community development implementation strategy meeting. It's something that we have to do every odd year, so obviously this is an odd year, 2019, and that'll be open to the public as well as we'll be inviting the county commissioners. We will be inviting the Athens County Economic Development Council and certainly the executive director and any other stakeholder associated with CDBG. So this is nothing new. This is something that we have to do, like I said, every odd year. And we currently, like I said, are planning for April 4th and have it as kind of a pre-meeting to the Planning Commission meeting. In other words, we'd probably schedule it for noon and then have the Planning Commission meeting
In location,
likely up here.
okay.
More to come on that as as we send out the invites and we'll get that out there to the public as well.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Are there any other communication? None? Report from the city planner, Mr. Logue.
Very briefly this afternoon, with just a quick update on the city's comprehensive plan. There's currently a online survey that's been distributed, trying to collect information from citizens relating to diversity issues, inclusion, accessibility. As of this morning, I checked and it looked like we had about 115 surveys completed, so I was very pleased with that. And we're also just working with the city's government channel and social media to try to get out some, push that a little bit harder, but 115, I'm very, very pleased with that number already. We also have a series of online videos that our government channel has created to talk about corridors and things like that. And myself and our 2 interns are really working hard on each section of the plan, trying to identify key issues and then some solutions on how we can do that. And we're trying to build something to present to the Planning Commission and to the public in the next couple months.
What would be considered, as I'm driving down Madison Avenue,
Yes.
what would be considered, I mean, if you expand the definition of corridor, would something like Madison Avenue, which is a heavy traffic connector from outside of Athens, because a lot of people who come in from Gloucester, the Plains, whatever, will use Terrace Drive to come up and then come across Jonesboro, Joneswood, sorry, and then down Madison. And I was just wondering if something like that would be considered in the future a corridor as such, and provided a little bit more attention in terms of the street itself and walkways and whatnot, because it desperately needs a sidewalk. The drainage there is pretty bad.
Right.
In fact, when it ices over, the ice will extend almost to mid-street
Right.
on there. So is that something that you would view as a more of a connector or a corridor, or is it the same thing?
Well, for purposes of the plan, we looked at corridors as really like the economic development areas of the city. So like Court Street, Richland, Union, Stimson, East State, and Columbus Road, I think, are the 5 that we looked at. It's really kind of like the business areas of the city. And those are, we don't really have a downtown as much as we have Court Street,
Sure.
a few cross streets. I think what you're discussing though, as far as how we look at other streets, those are going to be included in the plan. And we actually, when we did stakeholder engagement and community engagement for that area, we did receive a lot of comments about Madison specifically and some ideas on ways to improve it. City Council actually right now, they have on their table a complete streets policy that they're reviewing. So how can we better design streets and improve streets so that they're not just focused on vehicles, but they're slowing traffic down, making them safer, making them more pedestrian friendly and bicycling friendly and things like that. So that's kind of how I would look at those. I think we need to look at, Madison, and there's a few other streets that are really unique because of their topography where it doesn't even encourage, it just speeds are high coming down hills because of gravity. Columbia being another, Mulligan being a third that I can think of. And then there's a few others, of course. But
Okay.
there's things we could do to try to make it a slower street. Narrowing it, adding sidewalks, things like that would cause people to tap brakes.
Okay.
Yes, Nancy.
I was wondering if you would also consider that it's the only street really that's reasonable during bad weather to go down, because Cable Lane is good for teaching, 45-degree slope, but not much else at that time of year. And you can go down all the way to the other end. I would say the streets department has recognized that, and they do quite a good job on reducing the slip. But as RJ said, the groundwater seepage is coming out right at about where Grosvenor is.
Right. Yeah, it's always
And
wet there.
it's really bad when even with hit it like that and somebody's in the other lane. Oh my goodness!
It's freezing, I assume.
What?
The groundwater is freezing.
Yeah, it
It's turning
freezes
ice
when it
ball.
gets cold. When it, like we've had all of them this year, haven't we?
Yeah.
So we got to see where it was, and it's also got some mighty massive umps in it too. So I think it's not going to last very long. I hope you don't narrow it too much.
Plan's just going to be making some recommendations, of course, not
No, I figure they'll accept
teeth for
it.
implementation and financing for
But
implementation.
let me concur with what he says also about circulation. I was turning in on a winter night to go to a meeting at the library, and a guy was walking in the street, and I didn't really see him because anyway, he finally figured it out, but he was all in dark clothes.
I've seen the same thing.
And he ducked into the bushes, but man, I was really shaken after that. We need sidewalks, at least on one side.
I didn't mean to
sidewalks,
take us
lighting.
off topic on that.
No,
but-
no, no.
No, these are good topics, and those are important things.
People that live there probably, that pay attention probably
Right.
have opinions too.
It's not off topic at all.
Okay.
Was there anything else, Mr. Logue? there?
That is all, sir.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Surroy again. A report?
Yes, I just have one thing. Unfortunately, the mayor had to leave, but I wanted to thank the mayor for supporting the efforts at the code office to replace their aging fleet. I can gladly announce now that we have 3 Leafs, all electric vehicles. So I think the mayor can claim that he has the first electric vehicle fleet in the city. And we're greatly appreciative of that. And you'll be seeing our little vehicles going around quietly around town. So I just want to, again, thank the mayor for his support in that respect. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Surroy. Let's see, there is no one in our live audience to speak to the commission. Announcements and other business? Okay. Our next meeting will be March 7th, 2019, here at the Athens City Hall. And with the business of the Athens City Planning Commission completed, this meeting stands adjourned. Thank you.